help understand that, maybe Michael, you could start by giving us a sense of what does Stork do?
Yeah, sure. Good afternoon, Francesca, and to
Pleasure
our
to have you here.
viewing audience. Stork has a legacy presence on the island for over 30 years. Our primary sector that we serve is the energy sector, both upstream, downstream manufacturing, the heavy presence in the offshore industry, and of course, the Point Lisas and Atlantic LNG assets. Our services would include engineering, procurement, construction, fabrication, install and commissioning services. What we pride ourselves in being is a complete suite of services to satisfy our customers' needs through our integrated services.
And so this is the Trinidad established center. The wider company also is involved in other kinds of construction services and build out services. What else do you do globally? And of course, that's where I would go to Augusto to give us a little sense. You're here from Colombia, you're part of Stork, but some of the things you do in Colombia might vary from what Michael is overseeing here in Trinidad.
That's correct, Francesca, and thanks again for the invitation. And as you said, worldwide we do other type of services, and in Colombia, in addition to what Michael was explaining and what we're doing here, we are also embedded into the mining services, not only in Colombia, but also in Peru. And we have the pleasure also to work with the refineries, doing operation maintenance, overhauls, turnarounds, and same as in here, engineering, construction, commissioning, and other services, specialized services, focus on helping the operators to enhance their operation, their energy efficiencies, and nowadays working towards the energy transition, looking at hydrogen, and other green energies.
Is the conversation in Colombia similar to the ones we're having in Trinidad about the transition, and what kinds of experiences are you as an industry in Colombia going through? Does it parallel what we're doing in Trinidad?
It's similar. I think this is a worldwide conversation, and no country can be outside of this. It's very similar with some different colors about it. But certainly looking at sustainability, security, and affordability of the industry.
So you are colleagues, slightly different focus, definitely different economies. How does that work together with what Trinidad offers? Augusto is here to participate in the conference. Obviously, he's here because you share common interests. What are the common interests between what we're doing here? And for instance, the expertise that Augusto and his team in Colombia or in other, and maybe you could tell us what other parts of the world, how does that redound to the benefit of what you do here and what is offered to clients in Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, Stork is a global multinational. We have outfits in the Asia Pacific region, Middle East, Europe, UK, North America, Latin America, including Trinidad and Tobago. The benefits of a multinational organization is that you leave one shop you enter into another. It's the way we do business. So I guess the value add is that when we enter into business here in Trinidad, our years of experience is well over a century, all comes into that project. The execution model is a proven model of minds that have come together over several years, bringing a value add to our clients' industry.
And in terms of the conference, you're both speaking different panels. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that and your participation, and where is it that you want to bring your knowledge to impact on the meeting, the meeting of minds?
Sure. Well, I mean, my focus for this conference is going to be investing in ESG, or opportunities to invest in ESG. For those who may not know, ESG being environmental, social, and governance. And the conversation here is one that is passion of mine, but also through policy and ingrained into our core values, the ethos of our company, through our corporate social responsibility, our ESG programs, our health and safety programs, etc. we believe that we exhibit values that not are only in sync with our clients' expectations, but what society at large, whether it be domestic to our local community here in Trinidad or local to the communities that we work within, but the global community.
These values you're offering, well, enhancing your own business, but are you also offering consultancies on these values and how these this can apply to generally the transition and the importance of, let's say, the just transitions into the new energy world?
Yeah.
Are you offering that outside of your immediate business?
I'm smiling because it's not so much of a consultancy. When we committed to set across on or set off on this journey, we knew that our skills were, how to say, mature to a level that the local diaspora may not have yet attained. So with the blessings of our country manager, Philip Villain, when my team led by Miss Anna Maria Aladdin drafted the sustainability charter, we literally then gave it away to everyone on the island who could want it or some who didn't want it. We just gave it away.
So it's, in a sense, you're sharing knowledge that you
Yes.
have gained through and evolved over a century and working into the new energy space that collectively, globally, are the objectives. So this kind of information you have made available.
Correct.
And
Correct.
how has that been adopted? What kind of traction are you getting from other stakeholders in the sector to drive this kind of thinking from your work?
I think the enthusiasm that we've seen and the thanks that we've received really comes from a place of humility, because the arena of ESG and CSR, whilst it may seem to be organically natural and everyone understands it, it really isn't. It's very new. And we first started off acknowledging that we didn't know what we didn't know. And from there, recalibrating our view of the world, along with that humility, and then giving folks the opportunity for them to please better what we've written or what we're doing, has really encouraged folks to reach out and say, okay, thank you. This is what we're doing. And we've started to see a lot of collaborative effort in this space, in particular with the operators who are now coming to us and the wider contractor community saying, we're also in that space that we don't know what we don't know. So let's work together.
And your best practices can be adopted, refined, applied.
That's correct. All scalable.
Very interesting. Very unusual concept in the sense of just sharing knowledge with a view to driving new values and strengthening values into the wider industry and amongst communities and to the benefit of people.
Well, it's important. Very briefly, everyone is familiar with airbags. Airbags were invented by Mercedes-Benz, and they had an opportunity to corner the market, even destroy the market at that point in time. And they gave away that patented information freely. And when asked why, they said, some things are too important to just keep for yourself.
To commercialize.
Exactly. And that's the way
for the benefit of humanity.
Yes, and that's the way we see our CSR and ESG effort. We think that we're all in this together, quite literally, and we're obligated as corporate citizens to do our part.
And Augusto, you're visiting Trinidad. What are your plans for your presentation tomorrow, I do believe, yes?
That's correct. We will be talking about the challenges on investing in the oil and gas industry in Trinidad. That, in fact, I have seen it goes just beyond Trinidad. I have heard a lot about the connection with Guyana and with Venezuela recently. So, and from my experience and position in the service sector, is trying to give the most as possible of the impact of having the upstream being either affected or flourished by good investors that really want and can make the oil and gas industry to continue providing the energy to the country and to the sector. Now thinking on how to make that being greener and greener all the time. So certainly we will talk about decarbonization and how technology can enhance and help the energy transition, and how we from the service contractors can also uh, help and provide help to the operators in that transition by using all type of technologies that you find available today, and those that maybe are not yet available.
So in a sense, you're both speaking about different pillars that are critical to the transition into this new energy world, this new direction. So on one hand, you have the finance, on the other hand, you have the human element, the community development, the value-based business decision that is well integrated into any project management or even financial investment. So these two areas are very much pillars towards that need to be strengthened and expanded in order to build out this new vision.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because the description of the human element that you're describing and the financial aspect, almost by definition, is the definition of economics. So what we're really speaking to is the economics of this energy transition, the economics of project management, the economics of ESG and CSR, and most importantly, public and private partnerships to help establish resilience as we move from where we were to where we need to be going.
And as far as this conference goes, what are some of the takeaways that you hope to achieve after you speak and all the conversations and meetings and what you're hearing today? There have been some extremely powerful speakers. Where do you want to see this conference lead 2023?
I think that one of the core takeaways that each audience member is going to really be drawn to is that the value chain that we all belong to is much closer to home than we may have thought initially. Colombia is quite a ways away, right? But there's a global partnership that needs to be had. This energy transition is going to need all hands on deck. And it's not one that Trinidad can escape, especially where we are economically, of our gas reserves, the performance factors of the Point Lisas industrial estate, where Atlantic is with the mothballing of Train 1, etc. All of it, culminating to set a stage for you have to get it right now or face the consequences later.
Get it right now.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Michael. It's been a pleasure to have you and your colleague visiting us from the LATAM division of Stork, coming to us from Colombia. All the best with your presentations later. And thank you very much for sharing with us many of the interesting things that you're doing and this new world that so many hands, as you say, are on deck to build together. Thank you both very much.
Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure.